Lady.
What it do, boo?
This
Can you
Tracy.
hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I always somehow forget that you have this delicious accent.
That is so cute. I think you said that to me before when we were in Austin.
Yeah,
Remember?
exactly. And it's because you are a doppelganger for one of my favorite people
That's what you told me.
over here. Yeah, over here in New York. So I'm always expecting to hear like full on Brooklyn.
Well, it's funny. I used to live out there, right? I think I told
You
you
were in
this.
Brooklyn though? I know that you were in New York because when I
Best
initially
side for
met
10
you,
years.
let's
Yeah.
go.
So wait,
Best I ride or die.
exactly. Before we speak on that, really quickly. So I
Yeah.
feel like I've known you for years because we had plenty of like mutual friends together,
Right.
right? And I'm almost positive that we had met or maybe had brief conversations at like certain events that we had in New York, but we never
Yeah.
really knew each other or, that type of thing. So it's kind of
Right.
crazy when I saw you in Austin at that event. I immediately like I know her, but when you say I know her, but you don't really. But I will
Right.
say this, and for the people listening, for you, and again, someone that doesn't know you like in depth,
Hmm.
I in my opinion, your energy enters the room before you do. That's how
Wow.
I think the presence of who you are, like, because it's felt, right? And you get
Thank
that. I know
you.
you get that because sometimes I speak all like cheesy or whatnot, be the tree hugger that I am, and people are like, what the heck is she talking about? But I know that when
Listen,
I say
I'm
that,
not
you know what I
vegan.
mean.
I'm not vegan. So if you want to be quote unquote cheesy,
I'm
then
gonna do
pour
it.
it on.
I'm gonna do it. So listen, I always start with gratitude also. Like I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you agreed to chat with me here on Hello Fitness TV.
Yes.
We're building such a great community that are not just like fitness enthusiasts, but people really that are looking for other resources and different topics that we can discuss and share related to total wellness.
Yeah.
And you were somebody that I put on the list, and I know that you were probably dealing with Maureen. So I know that I was really happy that she reached out to you. But I told
Yes.
her that you have, again, this energy that it's really electric and really contagious and in a really unthreatening way. And I'll speak on that in
Mm.
a second, as a fellow Black woman. And that uh, I guess I'm just truly grateful for time and energy spent in conversation, because even though this is not supposed to be formal by no means, it's just a general chat.
Yeah.
But we connected. You actually followed up and sent me an email
Hmm.
on one of your I remember it was called Bloom,
Oh, the audio vision board.
the audio vision board, and I want to talk about
Yes.
that also. And I think I'm almost positive I followed up and I said, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And I shared it with several of my girlfriends. I was like, yo, this is dope. That I know
Oh,
that
thank
followed you
you.
on Instagram. So listen, titles. You are co-host of Sway in the Morning. You
Yes.
are a motivational speaker and speaker of affirmations. You are the founder of She's a Beast and well, She's a Beauty and a Beast.
Yep.
Excuse
She's
me.
Beauty and the Beast, which is
And
you. You embody
yeah,
that.
thank you, lady. And so
Yeah.
many other things. But I typically start with asking our guests this one question. Outside of all your titles, of course, how do you, in your own words, define who you are without mentioning what you do?
Oh, I just say I'm a striving human being who's trying to explore all of her layers and find the lessons within all of those layers. I
Yeah.
really believe, yeah, I'm very much about multi-dimensionality. I always have been. I remember when I was younger, I guess this was in high school, but when I learned the word duality, I was like, yes,
Okay.
I have been needing you for so long, because especially as women and society just tries to cram us into all of these different identities or contort us into these shapes that don't really match our spirit. And we are everything, as women, because we're creators
Yeah.
by nature.
Right.
And when you are a creator, that means that your hands are kind of in a bunch of different things because you can find inspiration in a bunch of different things, like we don't have a linear path in the slightest. So, yes, I am an explorer. of my layers and the layers of others, so long as they are open to sharing with me.
That's beautiful. Now, listen, I get asked this question a lot. As somebody that
Yeah.
seems very aware of yourself and your consciousness space that we call
Mm-hmm.
life, how were you awakened to this? Like, I know for one, many years back, I was definitely kind of existing in this world and living my life, but it wasn't until
Yeah.
I was fully like switched on to like the power of my being and the power of my actions and my words that I really took
Yeah.
like a true stance in this body, in this life. And I know that you get that because you definitely come across as a woman that embodies that same type of consciousness or awareness of yourself. Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain or perhaps tell us how that came about for you, unless it came from birth?
Listen, I am a Scorpio, so that just makes me organically like a deep sea diver. So there is that part when it comes to my birth chart.
Yep.
But when it comes to the choices that I have made, I think it begins with really letting my curiosity take lead. You know, I've always been someone who has questioned things, and not necessarily because I didn't trust it, but because I wanted to respect it further by understanding the why, not just the what, the why. And so beginning with just, I guess, your average little like 5-year-old existential questions of like, okay, so what's beyond the clouds, right? And then what's beyond space? And then just all different things that had to do with galaxies and different universes and But it's really journaling that then took me out of questioning what's outside of me to then pointing that curiosity within.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And it was, thank you so much for asking this question because I don't pedal backwards naturally. I have to intentionally say, all right, bitch, we're going to do some reflecting to just look at everything we've gathered in this thing called life. When it comes to my anxiety, I'm very much like a future fast forward, what's happening 10 years from now. So I love moments like this, but when I was younger, I had a couple notebooks that I accumulated where every time I met someone new, or like for the most part, I would always just end up doing this little mini psychoanalysis of them.
Okay.
And just like what I think motivated this action, the way that their disposition when I was around them. And it was my mother who suggested, why don't I do that for myself?
I like that. Well, what age was this? Was this like a teen, the teen years, early 20s?
This is No, this is younger. This is between the ages. Okay, so I shared these notebooks with my boyfriend when I was 17. So I was doing this from maybe like 11 up until 18.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's pretty young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to that degree. And I think also it's because I was one of those kids that just did not trust adults. And I could not wait to get older and get some like height on me so I could be taken seriously as like the soul that deserves respect as I felt. And I just saw adults doing a lot of shady behavior, but I couldn't speak to them about it. I couldn't correct them about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just talk about y'all in my journal and try to figure it out because I gotta be in this world with y'all.
I love that. I really love that. What's interesting as you say that, it kind of reminds me, like, my mother always says our greatest teachers are the children. And I never really kind of
Wait,
understood
your
that
mother
until
said
I
you
became
cut you
like
cut off
a
a little
step.
bit.
My mother
Wait,
would
wait.
say, like,
I missed the gem.
oh, no, no. So just in what you're saying in response to that, my mother has always said that our greatest teachers are actually our children. So it's funny that you say that because that's what it kind of sparks in memories. It's like, it's really interesting that you didn't feel like you had a voice, or you were so little and you needed some height before you could be taken seriously. Because like
Yeah.
since I think I've become like a true like stepmother in my role in my personal life, I have kind of given a thought to that. Like I'm supposed to be like an example and a mentor and a leader and a teacher and all these great things, but like they can teach me so much more, and I would never undermine them just because they're children. So perhaps maybe that's
Yeah.
something that you know now as an adult, that you wouldn't dismiss a child because you know, of course, because you were that person as a child. But just interesting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like relay that to something because it reminded me of something. But I
I
think that's really
definitely
awesome.
connect to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
especially because I think I was tweeting this. Maybe I put this on my Instagram, but one of the things I miss that wearing masks outside prohibits is the ability to showcase a smile to strangers, you know? And
Yeah.
especially to like children, because I don't know, they're like delightfully peculiar little souls because they've spent more time in another life than they have on earth.
Yes.
And so, especially when there's like a baby, like someone that is under the age of 5, I'm just like, talk to me because you still have like residual energy from wherever you came from on you.
Now you sound like my mother. Like a child is the closest thing that's tangible on earth,
Hey, hey.
closest to God. So like, embrace children, protect children, because you're right. They've just come from, obviously, if that aligns with your belief system, like a different realm of spirituality or whatever that.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree. I adore children for that reason, because sometimes, I don't know, this might sound really kind of crazy and this is a bit off track, but have you ever like gazed at a newborn, like, or a child, and they just seem so
The
like they're taking in
wonder.
the whole, yeah, and I
Yes,
think,
yes, Lita. Because you know what it is? They bring you back to basics. Like they show you the magic in simplicity.
mm-hmm,
And something about this world, especially like the Western Hemisphere, that's always about like attainment, right? And like more. Um, it's
capitalism.
just, yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Capital, materialism, like all of that. Again, everything like our best lives is always outside of us, right? That's kind of the secret motto of
Yeah,
the United States of America. But for children, they don't know any of that.
yeah,
And
agreed.
so it's nice to see that our organic nature is to just explore
Mm-hmm.
and to find like beauty in all of the minuscule details.
Mm-hmm.
Because children, they're so keen on the details.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Like
why?
they'll notice.
But why?
I'm telling. I don't. Maybe because heaven was just that lit.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree, and that makes all the sense in the world to me. So to all those adults
Yeah.
that dismissed you because you were young, shame.
Yeah.
But again, we know and we learn, right, as we grow. So you
Yeah.
break that cycle too, you
Yeah.
know? Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing that.
I've collected. I've collected apologies throughout my years, so it's okay.
There we go.
It's
Finding the balance.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
lady, listen, we're talking about all types of things, especially pertaining to self-care. Now, we're all
Yeah.
in this quarantine. I didn't
Hmm.
ask you at the beginning, but you are where? In New York?
I'm in Brooklyn. Yep, I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
My old home. Oh my God. I would say that I miss it, but in times like now, I think that being in LA probably serves me better. How is it out
Yeah.
there? What's life like?
Listen, I'm gonna keep it 1001 transparent with
Please.
you. Um, New York City is the sexiest.
Oh man. Wait, Tracy? Oh,
Hear me?
oh, wait,
Hold
hold on
on.
1 second, honey. You just there you
Are we
go.
there?
So
Are we
you're
there?
back. You just had a little yeah. New
Okay.
York City is,
I had a little glitch. New York City is the
yes.
sexiest scammer there ever was.
Wow. Talk to me.
That's my opinion. Um, but I also know that this is me putting expectations on her because she's been the same. I don't know why I've decided to go with the pronoun her for New
Yeah,
York City, but that's what it is. New York City could be a he or a they.
yeah.
I'm gonna put that out there. Um, I think it's because I realize now that I've had a pause. One, how I've made like for the most part very dirty neighborhoods normal to me. I
Wow.
think about I've had a, months of absence from the train. And there's great things about New York City, and we'll talk about that as well, because I don't want to paint New York City in one stroke.
Sure, sure.
It's just
Possible,
Lady
actually.
Liberty, right? That's why I'm calling her a she, because of Lady Liberty
Lady
in the
Liberty.
comments. But I also know that part of what's making a lot of folks in New York City, in my opinion, in my theory, why it's difficult for some to socially distance, to self-isolate, to be quarantined, is because you, generally speaking, a lot of folks don't move to New York City to be in their apartment. They move to New York City to be in the neighborhood.
Be
And
in the
so,
experience that New York offers.
right,
Yeah.
right, be in the energy of New York City. And now that I've kind of tapped out, I'm looking at New York City holistically, not just the surface, which is where the sexiness is, you know, but beneath it. And I'm like, why is our train system this trash?
Wow.
Like, for real, like, why have we normalized just walking down the block and just seeing just people's garbage everywhere, like literally everywhere? Even in like the fanciest corners, we don't even have like probably the longest stretch of blocks that are clean in New York is not even plural. It's probably just like 2 houses, maybe like 10 steps of purity, you know? But at the same time, like, I think about when it's 7 p.m. and I hear all the camaraderie for everyone that's cheering for, you know, our healthcare workers, for our essential workers, for our first responders. And I'm like, dang, like, that's what I love about New York City. I love that once I turn the corner and I go to a coffee shop, I end up in conversation with someone who lives right down the block from me.
Right.
You know, like there's a lot, but when absence not only makes the heart grow fonder, but absence makes the heart grow smarter, I think. And so what I'm hoping is that with these reflections, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's doing them, we not only think about how we can revitalize New York City from an economic standpoint, but from an aesthetic standpoint, which affects your mental health.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've always thought that, actually.
Yeah.
Right, with New York.
Because the other thing too is, I'm like, it's not natural. Like, we are God-made creatures. That is my belief. And so the same way how you don't charge an Android with an iPhone charger, human beings have to be charged by nature, you know,
My God.
not by like buildings and cement. And so I grew up in the suburbs, and my family's in the suburbs right now. My boyfriend's family is in the suburbs. And like the last time we went to PA, Philadelphia, I was just like, wow, fresh air.
Yeah.
This just, I'm fully transformed from like 5 breaths, or just being able to step outside without shoes on and have a relationship with the grass. Just changes things like energetically, electrically within me. And so I'm just thinking about how I can bring this into my living situation here, and then also for my people. So that's the challenge that I'm trying to rise to.
Yeah, no, and that's, again, I relate to that 100% because I left New York City 4 years ago now, which is crazy because it's been that long. And I did so still loving New York City. Like, it was really hard for me to give up my apartment, which I actually never did. I subleased. That's how unsure I was about leaving. But people ask me, like, well, why did you move if you loved it so much? And I said, I just became fully aware that my environment needed to align with how I wanted to create my life. And as much as I love the energy of New York, and I still do, I realize now in this space that I, you know, these mid-30s of mine, I needed to be around nature. I needed to see the sunshine all year round. I needed just like to see green. I needed to walk barefooted on grass. And it's like little things like that. So again, I relate with you there, sister, because it seems so small, but again,
Mm-hmm.
things are really typically simple. We just overcomplicate a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. So it kind of ties into what I really wanted to talk about regarding self-care. And it sounds like you're
Yeah.
navigating that space for yourself.
Lita, do you mind if I just ping one more thing about New York City that came to
Please,
mind when you were
please.
sharing? Is New York City isn't the problem. It's that sometimes we overindulge in New York City. It's the same way how like chocolate chip cookies are not the problem. It's when I OD
Yeah,
on chocolate chip cookies.
I
So
like
it's
that.
like, why am I blaming what's outside of me? So if I am like, all right, New York City, what's going on here? Then I just need to have an open relationship with New York City and travel some more.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
That's all. So it's really portion control.
Yeah, I like that. And that could be applied like across life, really. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because now that
Yeah.
I'm in LA, I find that I like to leave LA.
Antigua.
so,
Right.
so you're right. I think you now in the head. I think again, I'm always telling people that I'm in the fitness space, like moderation, everything in moderation. Like you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
overtrain or diet like a rabbit. Moderation, and I think the same thing
Mm-hmm.
can apply with what we're talking about, which makes sense for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for giving me the space just to slip
Oh,
that in.
for sure. This is why you're here. Oh my gosh. So much gems. So listen, self-care.
Okay.
What are
Yeah.
you doing for self-care? It sounds like simple things. You said you navigating and absorbing the city differently and things that you want to change post quarantine. What are you
Yeah.
doing for yourself and your energy during this time of being isolated?
Yeah. So one, journaling for sure, just so I give my thoughts, especially the ones that are kind of like rooted in uncertainty, or in self-doubt or anxiety or worry, just giving them a home because they can no longer have a home here.
I love
Like
that.
I have to, they just roam too free in my brain. So I want to respect them and give them shelter and move them from here to paper. So that's one. And that kind of lends itself to my audio vision boards. I created one specifically for this time during the pandemic where we're zigging and zagging, in a lot of ways. We're even deeper in the nucleus of distraction. It's beautiful to have technology to still connect, but at the same time, that overstimulation, like the 125 Zoom calls, right? And then compounded with, I have to cook, compounded with, well, what's going to happen in the future? There's just
Mhm.
so many different storylines that are crammed into our head right now. And so having okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, my audio vision boards are basically my remix to affirmations. Before I was in radio, my long career path was as a writer, as an editor. And once I got into radio, I was just, woo, poured on with imposter syndrome.
Right.
Self-inflicted imposter syndrome, and I found out about affirmations and I started taking it seriously as like a writer, and then I wanted to further embed them into my subconscious, so I was recording it, and then I accidentally played it aloud in public and I was really embarrassed, but a friend of mine heard it and was like, yo, this is dope, I think you should share it. And because it was working for me, I said yes, but I said, let me see if I can add some sauce to it. And a girlfriend of mine who's a producer, her name is Glam, she's hella talented, she soundtracks them.
Yes.
So they are
You mentioned her.
affirmations.
I
Yes,
listen.
yes,
Yeah, for
yes,
sure.
yes. So they're written and voiced by me, and Glam, she soundtracks them. So anyways, boom, I know how I'm feeling during this pandemic, right? And my kind of what qualifies me to share anything, my prerequisite is whatever I'm doing truly cathartic for myself, right? Then I'm like, okay, boom, bet, don't be selfish, share it. So I was like, okay, I need to anchor myself. I need to switch up my self-talk because it's not helping me find peace within this chaos,
Yeah.
And my thoughts are going to lead into behavior, which is then going to lead into a lifestyle, right? Which is why, to me, everything begins with my words. So I created this new audio vision board that's called Forced to Flow.
Force to flow. Okay.
Yes, force to flow. And again, going off the journaling, I have a 3-day guided journaling experience with it as well. So if anyone, I'm gonna throw in a little plug over there, but
Yeah.
if
No,
you're curious,
I was gonna have you plug everything at the
ah,
end.
thank you, my love. Well, for anyone who is interested, if that's kind of connecting with you, then I have a link right on my bio on my Instagram at it's Tracy G, or you can just go to bit.ly/force to flow. But that's been helping me a lot, my girl. Also, cooking.
Cooking.
Listen, now, yes, cooking can definitely get crazy because I'm doing it so much, but it's really like it's an edible meditation to me because it reminds me there's so many life parallels within cooking. So one is that all these different ingredients, let's just say let's go back to the chocolate chip cookies. Cool. So say you're baking chocolate chip cookies, like the different ingredients isolated taste terrible alone. Like when you think about egg yolks, when you swallow those bad boys down,
Gross.
that's a hell no.
Yes, I
Unless you Gaston from like, Beauty and the Beast, no pun. But unless do you remember Gaston from Beauty and the Beast? Did you
Yes.
watch that?
He was
Remember
the
he
king.
was down.
I love Beauty and the Beast.
He was cracking them yolks down his throat. I said, bruh. But anyways, my point is that like because I often say that my first language is analogies. That's just how God communicates with me, very clear. And so again, going to all these different ingredients, even like a cup of sugar is just gonna kill you if you just down it like that, right? But then when it's mixed together, when all of it combines, and then we're not even done there, when it's placed under heat, and then you have to have patience for the heat and the combination to do its thing. And then for the final product to be something fucking delicious. You know what I mean?
You're just
And like
taking me through an experience right now.
girl, that's what I'm saying. And
I need to cook this.
and also it gives me so much respect. Like there can be times where you're going out so much. Yes, Duncan, the right heat. Super freaking facts, Duncan.
Right.
Oh, you could take me everywhere with that analogy. Super facts. But also it gives me an appreciation for like the entire ecosystem that is running with us humans, because pre-COVID, there can be a lot of times, and I'm definitely guilty of this as well, where sometimes you don't want to go out to eat because you're like, why should I spend my money at whatever, right? But you forget until, for me, I start really cooking. People are creating art.
Yeah.
And like one of the reasons I've been, just kind of swiftering up my relationship with money over the last 2 years, like really getting to the core. And I know why I want to have a lot of money. And it's really so I can pay a lot of people.
Oh, that's
like,
beautiful.
I want to be one of the most active members of our economy. I really, really do. Because everyone has all these different gifts. And I don't want to feel like I have to hoard my money and then put down someone else's art by telling myself I'm not going because you charge too much. But then I'm okay with charging whatever I charge for what I do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's yeah. So there's that. And then I'm in yoga teacher training as well. And that is very fulfilling, but also challenging. Yeah. So that's interesting because it really is at the intersection of fulfilling and challenging.
Yeah.
But it's so good for this time. And yeah, there's a bunch of other things, but those are the first that come to mind.
Yeah, I mean,
then in general,
all of that, that's a lot of self-care. I love it. It's like when you speak these words, it's so passionate that I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do, because you bring a feeling to words. So I love that you have that ability and that talent, and I love that you said that about money. I have in probably the past 5 years tried to change my relationship with money.
Yeah.
I used to be this person that would say, I really don't care about money. Like I would do it for free.
Yeah.
And then I realized okay, that's a beautiful thing, but the ability to earn money is because so you can then spend it on things that you care about or pay
Boom.
people. And so changing just simply that relationship, I try to put a value on what I do and know that it's going to be working money. I'm not going to be the type of person, regardless of how much money I make, and I know this because in my heart, just to stack money to stack money. It doesn't.
Right.
It literally
just to show it.
Exactly.
No.
Nothing to me. If
I'm not gonna show it. I'm gonna spend it. I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna spend it, but I ain't gonna show it.
Exactly. And so I think that's a really healthy way to kind of like look at money and your relationship with money so you can maneuver differently or perhaps not move with guilt or just know in your heart that your intentions are pure when it comes to money, earning it and spending it. So I love that you said that. That's work I've also done as well. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Lita. Oh, you're such a wonderful host, my girl. Wow. I hope this goes beyond the screen. Listen, Lita, for real, receive this. Like, I hope this goes beyond these small screens of our phone into the biggest screen. Sincerely, like, your heart, the fact that you're not in front of me, but I can still feel like your spirit to the maximum degree. Girl, please. Carry on.
It's love. I appreciate you, seriously. Now, I want to respect your time, and we've gone off course multiple times, but I love the way it's gone, so it's totally fine. I'm going to skip a few questions and then sort of speak to something that we haven't spoken about. Now, things are kind of related. How have you had to pivot in this time? What's that looking like for you?
Okay, so I'll start with the morning show. Technology is bananas. Whoever has invented this device that's here in my living room, I don't know what it's called, but basically gives us the ability. I'm in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Sway is in Harlem. Heather is in New Jersey. And we are live as a trio every single day.
That's great.
8 a.m. to noon. And get this, our producer is in DC. But all, God bless Thomas Edison, all this whatever thingamajigs, it all works. So it's really just adjusting. I realize when you don't have, because we're still doing interviews.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have someone in front of you, your attention can just be seduced by other things in the present moment more easily. And so I have to really center myself more than usual when it's just like, phone interviews.
Got it.
Essentially. So that's really the adjustment. And then there's so many like nonverbal cues that are missing. So communicating on the daily without visuals is also a challenge, but I like the challenge because it's helping me to become a better listener.
Yeah.
Instead of sometimes you look at someone's facial to see like when you can jump in, like you kind of look at their lips to see when they're about to take a breath so you can jump in. And when you don't see them, the benefit of it I'm finding is you allow their statement to fully complete itself.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying because like there's so many Zoom meetings, Zoom calls that we're and you go. I'm a talk, and then it's like so like literally considering what you do, I can only imagine that actually takes a lot of skill and like you said, focus. Otherwise, but you go. So I get it. So I applaud you.
Yeah.
I applaud you.
It sounds like everyone has hiccups.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. And I'm really happy that you've been able to make those pivots and also find the silver lining in what you're gaining as well in this new change, in the new normal.
Yeah. And then as far as like my personal brand goes, the challenge is, and this is always going to be a challenge, is just really maintaining my boundaries. And I mean that with myself, not even for other people, because that's easier for me, but giving myself like business hours, because there's like 2 microphones in my brain at all times. And one is like, bitch, life could end at any point. We need to go. Life is short. And then the other mic is saying, life is long. Chill out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And so sometimes they kind of compete on each other's like volume. And again, because so much of our work is online and the internet does not close. So you have to decide, right? When you open and when you close. So it can get a bit crazy. But I'm so grateful that I have a partner that reminds me of my boundaries,
Nice.
that helps to keep me accountable. And then I make sure that I utilize these, I don't want to say her name, rhymes with Rebecca. I don't want to say her name, but she helps me out. I make her like at 9 p.m. She has like a whole evening routine set up where she's like, Tracy, the winners do blah 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 blah. So I try
love
to
it.
make technology work for me.
Yeah. Amen. And I applaud you for it because I'm terrible at technology, but I too am trying to find peace with her because we need to work together at these times. Now, ladies,
Yeah.
before I let you go, I've been
Okay.
with all guests. We do like rapid questions. So I have a bunch of
I
questions
love.
to ask you, if that's okay. And I love
Yes.
these, so I'll go on forever. So I'll try not to go on forever today.
Okay.
All right. Favorite song to exercise to?
Woo! Okay. Currently, it is definitely Savage Remix.
Woo! That is
Yep.
fire. I love
Yes.
that. What is your love language?
Oh, well, funny enough, I swear to God, my love language, the first one is words of affirmation, and my second one is touch.
Perfect. We're similar. Alone time or time together?
Well, quality time is my last love language in the order of things. Ah, if I had to time together. If I have to choose one, then that means I'm in some dire situation, so it's gonna be time together.
Take
And
it.
whoever I'm with will be silent so that it feels like I'm alone. Because with Carl, my boyfriend, it can feel like I'm alone sometimes, like in the best way possible.
Yeah,
Just meaning we don't always have to fill up the space with chatter.
that is.
There we go.
I need that in my friendships with my girlfriends as well. We don't need
Boom.
like
Right.
the whole time. We can be like this. I love you. Let's chill. Let's eat our brunch. Watching everybody else walk down the street. I'm cool with that. I love it. Water or land?
Ooh, water.
Of course.
I'm a
You're
water
water.
sign. Yeah, one of my like moments of awakening where I was like, "Oh my gosh, God is real," was in a body of water when I was in Mexico, and I felt how long that water had been alive on planet Earth, and I was like, "Whoa, like I'm laying on like a soul that is a million years old." That's what it felt like. So, water, water.
Beautiful. Oh, I like that, girl. Yes. How about this? Because this would be a
Okay.
good one for you. One person you would love to have an in-depth conversation with.
Woo!
Because I know you've had
This
plenty.
Okay, the first thing that came into my mind was Elizabeth Gilbert. I always say she is my Angelina Jolie and I am her adopted Black child. I love Liz Gilbert. Yes, yes, yes. She has been there for me through her writing, through her work. She's one of the most effective communicators ever. She's so genuinely loving. Like, she's to the point, I think she is done with the human experience, meaning like in some ways, even though I'm a Christian, I don't know, I feel like I'm very like multilingual when it comes to religions and to just different belief systems. So I also believe that we have many lives until you complete the full width of your purpose. And I think Liz is done. I think she's never
That says a
coming back as
lot.
a human.
That says a lot.
Yeah,
I know
I think
what you're talking about, and that says a lot. Yeah. Okay. All right.
yeah, I think she's done. I really, really believe it. I adore her. I
Yeah.
really do. I really do.
She's probably lived some some rich quality past lives that
Yeah.
show up in this life. That's
Or tied, I would want an in-depth conversation with my mom before she was my mom.
ooh, that answer. That is gold. As you say that, I'm like, I would love to know that person too. Yeah, I like that. Actually, I'm gonna make sure I remember that because I want to speak to my mom about that.
Hey.
Let me finish this question. We'll go on.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
TV series that you're currently binging.
Oh, that I'm currently binging.
Maybe that
My
you
sis,
finished that you loved.
I'm not a big binger, but I loved Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes, everyone says
That was
that. Let me
excellent.
just tell you, It must be so amazing. And I've been too cheap to get a Hulu. I need it. Guy! We need Hulu. Hi, we need Hulu. Got everything else by Hulu. I'm going in. How about this?
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok?
Oh, I mean,
Ooh.
since
Most
I
people
have the
don't.
opportunity,
Most people know.
well, since I have the opportunity to speak to you like this, then Instagram.
There you go. I love that answer. Sneakers or stilettos?
Sneakers or stilettos? I mean, I wear sneakers for the most part, but if I have some comfortable stilettos, like, girl,
Rock those. All right.
listen.
You bad. I see you.
The illusions that I can give of some stilettos.
Listen, sometimes when I dare wear the stilettos, especially if I'm wearing like a dress or a skirt, it's like I know what I'm about to do. I know what I'm about to do with these stilettos. It comes with
right.
Name one thing you love about your body.
One thing, its ability to move, its ability to protect me, its ability to give me lessons beyond the sweat. Yeah. And in actuality, as I've gotten older, I have started really enjoying its fluctuations because I'm able to be like 10 different women in a span of time because of how my weight changes. Yeah. And like when my weight changes, it's like a different experience because the world treats me differently, which is interesting. And then clothes looks different on me. Like, you know how some things can be more flattering when you maybe have like more curves. Yeah. Some things can be more flat, and it's all to the eye, of course. But some things can be like you can get away with if you have like less curves per se. Yeah. So, yeah.
I like that. Things. I'm the same way. I don't want to be and live this life in this body feeling some type of ways. It is what it is. And I know to make the decisions to change it if I need to. I have that power. So I love that. Yeah. Thank you. One thing you love about your personality. I got two more and we're done.
Okay, cool. One thing I love about my personality. What do I love about my personality?
So much to choose from.
Stop. I'm never really thinking about my personality like that. I'm always thinking about other people's personalities. I will say I love that. Oh, yes, that I'm really good at remixing situations to find the good in it. You know, like perspective is my magic wand. And I feel like I'm wielding that bitch a lot. Yes. So I think I'm good at that. Yeah.
I know you're good at that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You are a master at that. Actually, your energy just is enough to say yes, 100% correct. Two more questions, I promise. One thing you would tell your 16-year-old self.
One thing I would tell my 16. What's going on when I'm 16? I would tell my 16-year-old self to
I love it.
There's so many different things. 16. Oh, okay, yeah. I would tell my 16-year-old self to remember that my parents are just humans. They're humans first and parents second. That's what I would tell my 16-year-old self.
I feel like we may have been sisters or family or besties in a different life because so many things that you've said in this conversation, like me too. I'm a product of like a broken home, and for a long time I had like, issues, if you will, with both my parents and their choices. And that's one thing. When I became 19, I recognized that I need to stop looking at my parents as mom and dad and first seeing them as a man and a woman living a life that had children. And so I love that you said that. Oh gosh.
Yeah. When we're done, I'm going to shoot you a text of a meditation specifically for that helped me so much with just like honoring the humanity within my parents. I'll share that with you. I promise.
Please. That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And because I respect your time, Sister Queen. Last question.
Okay.
Name one thing on your bucket list that you have not yet accomplished.
One thing on my bucket list, and I should be able to accomplish this in 2021, but it's really I don't have a country specifically, but I really want to dive into the Eastern Hemisphere.
Okay.
I want to get out of Western civilization
Yep.
for a while, just to remember that there's so many different routes to having a quality life,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that will really like decondition me further.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always felt like worldly travels impact my life and how I exist in it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. So
Thank
listen, if
you.
you're tuning in, and we'll be sharing this as well, so it'll live
Yeah.
for a whole nother day. I personally, and I don't say this because you're right in front of me, and I have the pleasure of interviewing you, Tracy, but your audio vision boards are so impactful that you are constantly dropping gems, like every line. I've actually got a notepad somewhere, I think it's on my desk, where I've written down things that you've said.
Really?
Because yeah, and I've had to pause it like a bunch of times, every single time, because what you're sharing to me is something that people like myself like are finding so much resource and value in. So I continue to encourage you to keep on creating, because you have a true gift. And with glam, it just
Yeah.
works perfectly because it's such a vibe. And these days I spend less time, well, no, I spend a lot of time in my car, but less time actually listening to the radio and more time listening to positive words of affirmations that actually make my life better. And you are providing a resource that does that. So for those that are listening, I'm telling you, I found yourself on Spotify, right?
Yeah, you can find it on Spotify.
Yep, I Googled you right on Spotify, Tracy G, and then there's a whole bunch of different resources there that are literally vision board. I see them as vision boards, but are audio, and they are amazing. And I will share that also on my main account on Follow the Lita, because I feel like all people need to know about this, because I feel like it's a resource that most people aren't really aware of, because they should create vision boards, but to have an audio like that, it just is perfect. And you're really real about it. It's not like it's not
Woo woo. Right.
and you can kind of get lost in. I don't care for that. I care for someone I can relate to. It speaks truth, and you're so raw and yourself, guys. It is a win. You must check her out, Tracy G. Where else can we find you?
Oh my gosh, my girl. It's crazy because I've always been kind of weird about receiving compliments. And I told myself, I said, listen, I look at you as a truth teller, especially when we were in Austin, girl. And the way you stood up and asked those questions when it came to that panel for diversity and wellness.
Yes.
And I was like, nah. And so if I believe someone's a truth teller and they're sharing something about me that's positive, then just receive it. Just receive it. So thank you so much for that. I'm fully receiving it. For everyone who joined us, thank you, y'all. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Ooh, I'll make sure we're still standing here. Yeah, for taking the time to join us. If you're getting introduced to me for the first time, you can click my name over there. It's Tracy G on Instagram, ITSTRACYG. And you can be a part of my community. Check out the new audio vision board, Force to Flow. Right now, I'm only sharing it intimately through email with the guided journaling to go along with it. So if you click the link in my bio, I will send it right to ya.
Yes.
Lita, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate your time, Tracy. Please stay safe in Brooklyn.
I will, girl. I will.
It's a situation over here. But sister, for real, thank you again, genuinely from my heart. I appreciate what you do and how you show up in the world. Continue to do what you do and share your talents. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you on text. I'm going to hit you with that.
Thank you. Please.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Till next time.
Bye-bye, love.